What's a mystic? What really is mystical abilities? Do we know? I was thinking about this today and I thought, I wonder what everyone's definition of mystical abilities is. And for me, when I first started my shamanic practice and shamanic practitioner training, I had no idea that the journey work, shamanic journeying, was a psychic ability. I hadn't connected those dots. So I think unfair of me to assume that everyone else has connected those dots, because I was even on the training and hadn't connected those dots. This was years and years ago, and then I'm doing the work for. Really, I started it for self-development. I wanted to learn about me. I wanted to know who I was, what life was all about, what on earth am I doing on this planet, and what am I here for? Am I this useless thing? Or I wanted to know my purpose. I wanted to know my stance. I wanted some meaning. That's why I started my journey. It wasn't until I'd been doing it for quite a while and learning about myself, and then I never really thought I would go into having clients and healing others. I didn't see myself as the healer, but I was then placed in that position, as it were, and then started to see clients, and that really took off. And it wasn't until working with others and having my messages, my information, the journey work validated by other people that I suddenly went, oh, this is a psychic ability. This is me reading an accurate account of the formless space of, one, their thoughts. I could telepathically read their thoughts of the current moment. I was able to identify thoughts, feelings and emotions from their past, traumas from their past, and could then also ask what would best serve them in the future. Where do we now need to go? What do we need to do complete to help this soul move forward? So I had no idea that this was a psychic skill before working with other people, before my clients had validated to me, no, you're completely right. And one story of this is me doing a soul retrieval. And you go into different chambers to perform a soul retrieval. So I was in the chamber of wounds, and this is the wound usually of when that person experienced soul loss, why and when the soul part disappeared, and what was keeping it away. Now, this lady loved animals. I knew from her, talking to her, from her life, what she did. She was an animal intuitive. She spoke to animals. She worked with animals. She was animal mad. She loved all animals. And the wound, I kept getting this really aggressive shark that wanted to attack me, and I felt lots of fear. And I was going, I checked the chamber of wounds probably 3 to 5 times because I assumed she wouldn't hate animals. This can't be right, because it would seem like she really didn't like sharks, that she was really afraid of sharks. That was a message that I was getting. The wound was, I can't do sharks. And I went, but she loves animals. I really don't think this is an accurate read. So I kept going back and just getting the same image every single time until I went, okay, right, got that. It's been repeated to me so many times that I went, fine, I'll just roll with it. Finish the soul retrieval. And then I was a bit reluctant to share with her. I was a bit like, she's not going to think this is very good. She's not going to think it's accurate. She clearly loves animals. And then I delivered the message and she went, oh, I saw Jaws too early when I was really young, and it freaked me out and I hate them and da-da-da. And I was like, oh. And I felt such relief that I was This was in the early days, and I thought, it was me gaining trust in what was being delivered. And I had assumed that this was an invalid message. So it did take some time for me to understand, okay, this really is a psychic ability. And then even further than that, I started to understand that actually all psychic talent is a form of journey work, because shamanic journeying is the ability to read messages from the formless realm. It's that language of learning how to speak the language of the soul, learning how to speak the language of energy, learning how to speak to energies, entities, spirits in the metaphysical space, and to read the thought realm, to read information that's there, that's also here, but my analogy is the metaphysical and this realm is a bit like having a computer program. So that we know on the internet we've got codes, and people know how to write the code and how to write the back end of the internet page, whereas we see pictures, English language, videos, all stuff that we can understand, yet that we do know that both of these things are exactly the same information. That's the code. This is what we can understand. So the metaphysical is a little bit like that. It's learning the back end, learning actually how to write the code, learning the computer program of this physical reflection. We are the physical reflection of the metaphysical space. The metaphysical is the data, and we are living in the physical version of the metaphysical data. So it's the ability to go into the back office, be the computer programmer and say, okay, there's your bug. This is what's happened. This is where the computer code breaks down. This is what's wrong. Let's take that piece out and rewrite the code. So it's like then what you've done here then reflects in this physical reality. And we then understand and we say, thank you. Okay, now I have full understanding of this. Okay, right. And mind, body, spirit then all clicks into place, and we then have a freshly vamped website, if you like. We can now override that issue. We are now not stuck in this same churning program because we can alter it, if you like. So it's a very important skill. And I guess there will be two skills. One skill is to be able to read the data, read what's there, and that's essentially what the psychic is doing, heightening their extrasensory perception, noticing things that we wouldn't normally notice. So we have extra hearing, extra senses in the body, extra senses in the mind, and we can get imprints, and the psychic will see pictures, understand things, have a knowing that perhaps somebody that hasn't heightened their psychic doesn't know. So the first level of the psychic mystical is the knowing, to be able to read what's there. But for me, then there's another level of the mystical ability, which is, yes, we can read the coding, we can read what's there, but then can we also have a conversation with our soul, have a conversation with highly evolved beings to help us into something that's more effective, to help us grow and evolve? How do we then understand that this is, we can say, the psychic will say, this is what's likely to happen given where you're at the moment. This is what's in your field. But then the extra piece is having the mystical ability to say, okay, this is what's in your field. But if you want to alter that, if you want to create something better than that, this is where you need to go. This is what you need to understand. This is what your soul is trying to speak to and through you so that you can evolve into a more elevated existence. And that's what mystical ability is to me. The ability to get messages from your soul and your higher self to inform this physical reality, so that we can grow as human beings, so that we can understand more of who we are, so that we can design and create the most beautiful physical existence for ourselves. We can then become the creator. That's why it's so important to use the mystical ability first and foremost as a self-development tool, to learn about the self, to learn and understand who and what we are and what the soul wants to speak to and through you. And really, then working with other people and doing shamanic practitioner with other is icing on the cake. But first and foremost, it's about understanding what your soul wants to say to you, understanding the back program of your physical existence. That's what is most important about mystical ability. That is, for me, the most profound tool to be gifted in this life. What a wonderful thing to be able to do. I can go and understand my own unconscious mind so that I can better live, so that I can be the best version of myself, so that I can be an elevated version of myself. So I hope that helps you understand mystical abilities, why for me it is so profoundly important, because it will get you living your best life. It will inform your day-to-day, have your soul speaking to and through you in every single moment. The ability to listen to your soul and be connected to its voice is indescribable. And for me, this is the tool that will be rippling throughout humanity, that we haven't had our awareness on this particular practice. We weren't able to see, oh, as humans, we can do that. We can understand ourselves so much more deeply that we can evolve, change our lives. Oh, goodness, it is so profound that we've been living in a fear-based state where we assume life is happening to us, that there's nothing that we can do about that, and God and Source is doing it to us, and we don't have a say or a choice. But that, with mystical ability, that is not so. Our very gift from God as humans is that we have free will choice. We are choosing in each moment who we want to be, what we want to feel, and choosing and creating our own reality. But for the most part, it's coming from a computer program on autopilot that we haven't realized that we actually can change the code. And that's what's so profound about mystical abilities. We have the ability to choose and upgrade our websites, to go back to that metaphor. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that you have a keen interest in learning more about mystical abilities. It has absolutely changed my life for the better. And I hope it can help you as well. Hope you try.